Tax time doesn't have to be stressful. You want to know what it feels like to be stress-free? Call the professionals at SJC Financial Solutions. We can provide you with professional and experienced staff, electronic filing, individual and business tax returns. We provide bookkeeping, payroll, IRS collection representation. You can reach us at 800-542-1393, or you can log on to www.yourtaxremedy.com. That is yourtaxremedy.com. We are an authorized e-file provider, and we are IRS enrolled agents. Again, tax time doesn't have to be stressful. Know what it's like to be stress-free. Call SJC Financial Solutions. Mention this ad and get a 10% discount.
Hey folks, welcome back to the Wrath of Ruthless. I am the Ruthless Wonder, not a Ruthless Wonder, and you are here for our show. I hope you guys enjoyed. Of course, our last show was a little bit ago. We had to take a weekend off. Well, let's just say I got even sicker than I was kind of the last time I talked to you guys. So this week we do have, of course, our usual our live session. That was, of course, taped yesterday. For those of you watching this on Saturday, of course, talking about the Oscars, and that means that's right. This week's was a live Words Don't Do It Justice. So coming up, we've got that. Before we get to that main section, of course, we've got some time with me and you talking about situations in politics. That's right, a give no quarter start. So I hope you guys are enjoying the Wrath of Ruthless. Hope you guys are enjoying us being back. I'm going to be back here in just a minute with this week's Give No Quarter, and then we'll follow that up with talking with Princess Devy about the Oscars. I look forward to talking to you guys on the other side, and of course, check out next week. I got some interesting stuff for next week and the week following. So, looking forward to it. We got some stuff I think you guys are gonna enjoy, and shout out to, of course, our friends over at the Midnight Chat Attack, Double Toasted, Geek Street Radio, and so many more. Of course, the most important folks, you folks in the Justice League. All right, folks, see you on the side. Hey, folks, welcome back to the Wrath of Ruthless. I am joined here briefly by a very interesting new friend, we'll put it that way. How about that? But as you know, I like to bring on folks from time to time to talk about the interesting stuff they're doing. And this time, I'm bringing on somebody who sent me a very cool replacement for, let's say a bracelet that I've been wearing for quite some time. But I'm gonna have him tell you more about it. Here first. So, Don, you there?
Yes, I am.
How you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How's it going?
Going pretty good. So, tell us first what it is that you make for folks and sell on Etsy.
Well, what it is, it's different paracord accessories. For those that may not be familiar with paracord, it's a military grade parachute cord that they actually use in the military for their parachutes. And the thing about it is it's a very versatile fabric. It's light, it's strong, it's durable, it's functional, and it's also fashionable. And I'm sure you can attest to that.
Of course. So tell us how you kind of got into it. Of course, a little bit about yourself as well.
Well, I grew up in New Orleans, lived in Baton Rouge for a while. I live in the Houston area in Texas. About a year and a half ago, it's kind of weird. I started getting these. I don't know if you've heard of like Loot Crate and Geek Fuel and all those different like loot boxes.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, well, I had a subscription, and every month there's a theme, and the theme was espionage, and I got all these spy related things, and one of the things in it was a paracord bracelet, and I'm thinking to myself, man, what is this? Why is there a bracelet, in my box? You know, so I looked at it and I started doing a little research. They had a little YouTube video of how versatile it actually is, and they kind of went into the different uses for it. So I watched the video. They kind of demonstrated how to make them as well as the different uses. Let's say you're somewhere and you need shoelaces. You can undo your bracelet if need be and tie your shoelaces. Or if you're somewhere where you need to, let's say you have to tie a tourniquet or um do something to where, let's say you're out in the wilderness, and this is where the versatile part comes in. If you're in the wilderness and uh, you have to like pitch a tent, but you don't have any string to pitch the tent, you can use the paracord to pitch a tent. So
So
I
it's
mean,
extremely versatile what it can be used for.
absolutely.
Now, obviously, mine is very near and dear to my heart. It's got my glorious Chiefs on there.
Yeah.
But uh, do you make them for particular special occasions? Are there any limits as to what people can buy for?
Um, I make them for a lot of different things. The good thing about it is, um, like I said, it's very versatile. You can fashion it into a bracelet if you want, a keychain, a lanyard. You can do it for your favorite team, your school, your profession, something you're proud of, like a milestone. I mean, if you have something that you want to show to other people and kind of carry it around as something dear to you that you would like to share with others as well, it's absolutely something that you can get and I can custom make for you. I mean, anything you can pretty much think of as far as a theme or a character or your sorority or fraternity, an event, anything like that, I can custom make for you and have that image for you on this bracelet or keychain or a dog collar, dog leash, belts, watch bands. If your watch band breaks, I can make a new watch band. Literally anything you can think of, we can make for you.
Now, see, that's the one that I'm probably going to end up needing as well here in the future. I am super bad on watch bands, man. It's
Hmm.
horrible.
Yeah.
I think I've replaced. I have this one watch that I kind of got popular. I have a old school big face watch, so
Yeah.
and I have busted so many watch bands on it because if it
Mhm.
moves around too much, those things will snap off pretty
Yeah.
fast.
Wear and tear.
Yeah, yeah. So I love it. Of course, now folks are watching the show. They're seeing the photos of my bracelet
Hmm.
that I got, of course, on the screen right now.
Hmm.
So what's the easiest way to get a hold of you and know when you're producing some or how to make a custom order?
The easiest thing to do is go right to my Etsy page. It's practicalparacords.etsy.com. Once again, it's practicalparacords.etsy.com. You can go on there, see everything I have. And if you want to have something custom made, you just click the little contact button right under my name and my happy little picture. And you can talk directly to me and we can get together anything you would like to have. And also, if you would also like to look at just some pictures of what I have, you can go on Instagram, type hashtag practical paracords. All my stuff will pop up on there. That's the easiest way to do it. Or you can go on Facebook at Practical Paracords.
Well, it's really straightforward to get a hold of you. Um, just for folks that aren't on the website right now, or maybe you're listening to our audio version, What's the general cost in picking up a piece?
Well, it varies. If you're looking at something like a keychain, it's right around $6.50. If you're looking for something more of like a personalized bracelet, it's right around 13 bucks, depending on what you get. If you want further customization, it may be a little more. If you want something a little bit more simpler, it'll be a little bit less, but roughly around $13.
And as far as shipping, gift boxes, stuff like that, can that all be discussed whenever you guys get a hold of, whenever people get a hold of you over the Etsy page?
Yeah, absolutely. For the most part, it's going to be your standard first class U.S. Postal Service shipping. But like I said, I can always make a special accommodation depending on what it is you want. So anything is up in the air as far as what you want and what we can discuss.
Well, great. So I guess the last question is: are there any particular special ones coming up that you're willing to share with us, or anything else you want to let folks know about?
I do want to bring up just two things real quick. One, um, I forgot to mention as far as things that may be something you would like. Um, I also offer a bottle opener that you can clip onto your belt. I know a lot of people out there like to tailgate, so that's makes it very convenient for you to tailgate. You got your beer, you can pop it right open. You don't have to look for a bottle opener. Or if it's too cold to pop your can open, you can use the back of the bottle opener to pop your can open. Um, and last but not
There you
least,
go.
like I said, if you want to check it out, go right to practicalparacords.etsy.com, or you can find all my photos on Instagram. Just type in hashtag practical paracords, or you can find me on Facebook at practical paracords.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on, Don. We got to make sure folks get out to get your stuff on the Etsy. Remember, folks, Practical Paracords on Etsy. Check out the photos on Instagram and of course on Facebook as well. Uh, until next time, I am the Ruthless Wonder, not a Ruthless Wonder, and we hope you check out our good friend and friend of the show. Take care,
I
guys. Talk to you
appreciate it.
next time.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, no problem.
Give no quarter. Give no quarter. Give no quarter. Give no quarter.
Hey, folks, and welcome back to Give No Quarter. So check this out. We're doing this quick Give No Quarter segment because I got something in my brain that just annoys the ever loving shit out of me. Let's talk about this before we get into a much more positive overall show. So there's this thing that has always annoyed me uh, with not necessarily all radicalized groups, but a general particular sect of the liberal side of the fence. This is not usually something that comes from the conservative end because as you go more conservative, even though it does become more like the liberal left, it still is missing this one thing. They replace it with something else, and I'll talk about that after I talk about this. You ever be in a this could be on Facebook, this could be on Twitter, this could be in general, a conversation, and somebody says something that you initially um, think, okay, this person just doesn't like people. That this person just has a profoundly dour opinion of humanity. And you're like, okay, that's fine. And that that kind of lets it pass. You're like, all right, I get a few misanthropic thoughts from time to time. Um, you know, misanthropy is not bad in certain degrees. I can rock with this. And then they go a step too far. Now, here's what I mean. I don't like most people. Now, it's not from a, you know, extremity that I'm going to get into with this group of people. That's more of a, I don't like most people, not because I, I think humanity is evil, because I believe that we as a society um, have become something of a problem for ourselves. The notion of civilization has corrupted the idea of society, and so we no longer have a tenable social contract. That's why I don't like most people. But that's not a ideology base. That's not a religious base. That's just I think we have screwed up the grand idea of society. Uh, and our quote civilization is nothing more than our leftover caveman brain, our 150, that we can keep track of, run amok. Okay, now that's some general misanthropy. That's just general people kind of suck mentality. What I'm not talking about though are a different set of people. What I'm talking about are these people. You're immediately going to know exactly what I'm talking about. It's going to sweep into your brain. You'll be like, oh my God, I know exactly what he's saying. I know exactly where this came from. Okay. It's the people that uh, have that all of human existence is shit mentality. I can't tell you where I saw this because I'm not really at liberty to share this. But somebody said in response to just a web comic that's a very political comment, where it talks about revolution and how revolution first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win, and then not long after you win, you ignore them. And it was saying basically that revolution is a cycle and it will continue until there is a greater peace established. So, okay. All right. That's a cogent point. We can't expect to eradicate uh, human greed and avarice by just beating the people who are quote evil and taking power, because then we will do the same things with our power that they did to us. Well, some person who thinks that they're bright said this is the history of the shit stain in time known as mankind, summed up into one comic. Really? Really? The very idea of humanity is a good idea. The very idea of society and human evolution, and both socially and physiologically, is a wonder of our world so far. Because we haven't seen it anywhere else. We haven't seen it in any other animal. That, in and of itself, is amazing. Human history, for what we have written down, because remember, we have like a percent, maybe 5, we'll be nice. 5% of human history is actually written down. Really, like 95% is missing. So to say that somehow this was all not worth it, and we would essentially be better off as Neanderthals, uh, maybe not even that far, because some of them could write as well. Well, not write, but they could communicate as well. So better off. We'll go back far enough. Better off as slightly more evolved apes. Homo erectus. Yeah, we'll go there. So we're we were better off there. No, we weren't. Number one, the fact that somebody can make a statement like that on, of all things, social media on the internet is ridiculous. And this is where you need people in your life that are not from one particular group or another. This is where you need people in your life that have contrary viewpoints to your own, because it keeps you honest. Because they can look at you and say, you just said some incredibly silly and stupid shit, and I need to check you for it in love as your friend. Because in love, you're an idiot. And that's what this is. This is idiot conversation right now. This person, and there are 19 different, Tyler Durden defying special snowflakes below them in a replies, bigging them up for what is dime store philosophy at its absolute worst. I don't even think you can get change for this in a store. This is stupidity of the highest order. Why? I'll tell you why. The webcomic that led them to make that comment wouldn't occur without the platform that appears on. That platform wouldn't have occurred without major social media networks like Twitter, like Facebook, like MySpace before it for that matter, and Friendster and Black Planet, pioneering the idea of social media in modern human society. And we're not talking modern in the grander scope of the modern generation, but rather modern as in extremely contemporary, to the point that this is ridiculous to somebody who were to see this from 1982 to now. So, you got that. Okay, now you still need the internet to exist in its modern form, meaning the ability to stream stuff by putting a link containing photographic electronic information on to one place that is sourced from somewhere else, something the internet evolved to do. Links, if you recall, didn't used to just automatically post the image. They'd post a link, you had to click on them to see what it was. Oh yeah, I'm taking you to dark days, back when the internet was literally AOL and basically nothing. AOL, Netscape. the olden times to most of you kids. Go back further. You still need Al Gore, according to him, and DARPA to come up with the concept of the internet the way we use it now. The idea of all these computers in a non-centralized fashion determining things using a combination of phone lines. And you have to get the fiber optic development that got us to the point of the speed we have now. You have to go insane with technology just to get to the idea of the webcomic, much less insane with human interaction to the point where you get to comment that idiotic bullshit you said. But humanity is a shit stain on time. Maybe they just meant mankind. In which case, the philosophy that the human male is in fact the genesis of conflict in contemporary and modern society has to go philosophically back through a number of different movements before you even can get to where that idea is possible. Think about, you have to go through this, what they call it, third, and in some cases they call it fourth wave feminism. You have to get to third or second and first. You have to get through the civil rights movement. You have to get through sexual revolution. You have to get through the industrialization of the Western world. You have to get through women's suffrage. You have to get through the Civil War. You have to get through the idea of federalism. You have to get through the idea of Democrats and Republicans as opposed to federalism and anti-federalism. You have to get through the idea of creating a centralized government instead of the Articles of Confederation. You have to get through America. Think about this for a second, people. These are idiots talking nonsense. Every time someone talks about the idea that human beings are an evil plague upon the planet, I have to look at them and call them stupid. And I don't mean I have to look at them online and say in this podcast, man, that's some silly bullshit and I can't believe they believe it. I mean, if you were to say some bullshit like that to me in person, I would call you an idiot to your face and dare you to do something about it. Because I would go through what has now been 12 minutes of me talking about how stupid that is in the context of the existence of human beings and explain to you why I'm calling you a dumb shit. Because this is that stupid. Look, philosophically speaking, I don't really care what you believe. I don't even care if you like what I believe. What I do care about is that even on the show, while I'm enjoying this new solo content style, even while on this show, I want you to think about something beyond yourself. Not because I think I have all the answers, I damn sure don't. But what I do have is the ability to, no matter your position, no matter if you agree with me on everything, make you think about things in a different light. Because the way I get somewhere is not the way you get somewhere. That's that beautiful uniqueness of each and every human being. What I am saying is that the idea of humanity being innately bad for existence is silly. Is silly enough that you should be able to make fun of it openly. And hey, have information, have backup, be able to talk about it intelligently, kind of like I just did. But imagine for a moment the stupidity of an idea in a notion like that. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, like I said briefly about this, because we're not going to make this episode of the Wrath of Ruthless all about Give No Quarter. In fact, we've got a really interesting discussion post-Grammys and pre-Oscars that we're going to get to next, because I think that that's really important to talk about. And I won't tell you who our special guest is for that. But on the other end, we have this notion that humanity is uniquely perfect. See, if the problem with liberals is they believe humans are evil and must be curbed, that's where you get this. That's where you get things like PETA, by the way. Fuck PETA. And you heard me say it, PETA. Fuck you. Because you don't think that animals should be used for the purposes of creating synthetic versions of the insulin that keeps me alive. You steal people's pets and euthanize them. Fuck every last one of you. You support actual terrorism. So fuck you. Alright? Fuck you and everybody who supports you. Because they don't know about the things that you do and the things that you actually espouse. So fuck them for not reading up on the people they support. Fuck all of you. Anyway, the thing with the left is they believe humanity be so uniquely evil that they must be curbed at every turn, no matter what it is they're doing. The thing about the right is, I'm not talking about Republicans, I'm talking about conservative versus liberal, whereas I am not necessarily in the middle, I am outside of the circle because I believe democracy bad for everyone. But on the conservative end, the right end, that end, the conservative end, says humanity is so uniquely perfect that it is above reproach. That leads you to silly shit like the invisible hand of the market. Now, as a concept at the time, the very idea in wealthy nations that the invisible hand of the market could in fact sway humanity the right direction through capitalism, thus making not only our economic structure, but outside structures like government work in a better hand, because the people would in fact not allow for certain things to occur. They would show their displeasure by acting essentially with their wallet. Now that's a dime store version of that. I'm not giving you the full explanation of the invisible hand, but that's essentially where the invisible hand style philosophies come from. This notion that human beings will always move the needle to benefit all human beings. It comes from this notion that human beings are uniquely perfect animals, when in fact we aren't. Number one, we have evolutionarily kept an organ that does no actual purpose in the appendix. But also, if you look at placement of things on our body, they only make sense as evolutionarily placed. In fact, it could be said that the smartest idea, just a general thought, would be moving the genitals farther up and away from the space of the thighs. Essentially, you would be able to run better if your vagina for women and your dick for men and dick and balls for men were higher up on your torso. Just enough to where there was no possibility for men of you coming into contact with them while moving. And for women that the higher placement would take pressure off of the pelvis so that when giving birth to children and when doing other strenuous activities, you wouldn't be so apt, because of the wider hips, to have possible damage. They say that. That's a thing. That's not, again, dime store science stuff here. We're just talking about, things of that nature. So humanity's not perfect. But the idea that human beings are uniquely perfect on Earth compared to other animals is what leads us to these philosophies. And those philosophies are just as dangerous because it doesn't account for, as I always say on the show, basic human greed and avarice. That is legitimately the biggest problem with most systems of governance. Because no matter who you are, no matter how good you are, with power comes one of two things. Either you will become directly and malevolently corrupt. Okay? So corrupt by action, by choice, that you choose to be corrupt in the way you apply your power. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that you're out here murdering your political enemies. What it means is that when given power, you may do things to benefit your friends, even if it's not directly benefiting your friends. For instance, if I were to become president, it would be very easy for everyone who has worked on The Wrath of Ruthless, on Give No Quarter, on Words Don't Do It Justice as the podcast, and the blog to have more access to me. In fact, I would make it very easy for them. I might send a car if they're in the same city. I might send a plane to go get them. I may pay for them to take commercial flights to come see me. Those are things that you get a benefit of by having power. And it is, while a choice, it is malevolent, it's corruption, it is not uniquely dangerous to other people. That's just an access thing. But that's benign, but because it doesn't harm anyone. But it does mean that you may also put yourself in a better position. It is not a coincidence that Barack Obama sold more books after becoming president than he did beforehand. And yes, he still got paid for every book that was sold. Now, look, the idea of that sounds like that's not really corruption to you. Of course, because he isn't doing it for a malicious reason. It's not malevolent, but it is a conscious, direct choice. I'm going to allow them to continue to print and sell this book. I will take the money for myself and pay taxes on it. That's fine for me to do as an American, but it's still a benefit. The office still benefits him in that fashion. Those are not malevolent ones, but they are still quote-unquote corrupt in the most ridiculously broad definition of that. A benefit to you that is not inferred onto to others. So, you have those. But you also have truly malevolent ones. You have ones that harm other people. And those malevolent and those benign corruptions are not just the only things to worry about. Because you believe human beings to be uniquely perfect, you allow for things like, well, we don't need to regulate this industry as stiffly as we do. This is a conservative belief. As strictly as we do, because the people will react and stop using products from those that do so. Well, that's fine on the one hand. But if you're removing those regulations and also allowing for misinformation on what those regulations did, what those industries can do, and what they are currently doing, you are now corrupt in that you are allowing for deception to rule the people. Now, I have to wrap up here because we're at 20 minutes, but it's this concept on both sides. The idea of humans being so unredeemably evil, and on the right side of being so unredeemably perfectly, so irrepressibly perfect, that drives unfortunate ends to the situation. And in fact, is the lead part of our problem. Now, again, this was a political idea, this is a political discussion, and I'm going to get on to some lighter topics, but these two mentalities push me to an edge at times because it doesn't make sense. Human beings are far from perfect. They are neither all good nor all bad. We are shades of gray. Some people are out on the extremes, but even the worst person has at some point done something good. Even the best person has at some point done something bad. There are no infallible all human beings. I know I just could hear a pin drop on this podcast because you're thinking, well, but what about people like Gandhi? Gandhi was an outright racist. He hates black people. He hated. He's dead now. He hated black people. In fact, one of the things he did, he hated Africans more than he hated African Americans, but he absolutely hated anyone who had any ancestry in Africa in a more direct sense, because obviously all of you all came from Africa. But he hated them. What about Dr. King? Well, it would appear that Dr. King was cheating on Coretta Scott King at some point during their marriage. Now, when that occurred, how deep that went, who knows? But apparently, that's what was going down. Everybody has their thing where they screw up because you're human. You are not infallible. Pope's not infallible either. Okay? I don't care if the Catholics come after me. The Pope has done bad things that he's had to ask God for forgiveness for. Because every human being has done something bad once. And I'm not going to get into ideas of degrees. We all have done something. We have all for the Catholics. I'm going to give you one that's easy for you because I know you're mad right now. All have sinned and come short of the glory of God. Remember that one? All. Doesn't say all but the Pope. All. Now, so as we wrap up, I want you to think about these concepts. I want you to think about people that say these things, and I want you to think about the people in your circle. I want you to think about them because I think it's important that going forward, that you take a different tactic with the people who are problematic in your life. I hate using that word, but it works here fairly well. You don't shy away from correcting truly abhorrent behavior. Now, this isn't to say like call out every friend about everything they do. Some things you got to talk to them in love. But if they say something, especially in public, that's just outlandish to an insane degree, like deal with that. If somebody said right now, man, all white people are evil and should be eradicated, and the world would be a better place, I would call them out for being a bigot. That's what a bigot says about people. That's not what a thinking human being says. Because all of no people are any one thing. That's just how humanity works. You know, I hate the all altruistic statements are inherently false. But it is basically true. There are very few altruistic statements that can be proven true. All human beings must breathe oxygen. That is true. Therefore, it proves the all altruistic statements are inherently false. See what I mean? But that idea is that there are very, very finite things, very small amount of things that can always be true, no matter who you're talking about when it comes to human beings. And once you get outside of those small things, you have to concede that there are nuances and degrees. And if you won't deal with the nuances and degrees, you have truly become what you say you despise. And on that note, we are out of here for this segment. I will get you guys back. When we come back, we're going to talk about the upcoming Oscars. For now, this has been Give No Quarter. I am The Ruthless Wonder, not A Ruthless Wonder, and I will see you guys on the other side. Oh, so you thought we were going to go, like, right into the next part of the show, huh? I told you, words don't do it justice, man. I'm back. So before Devin and I talk about the Oscars, I want to give a shout out to the, I would say the number one toasty I haven't met yet. Toasties are, of course, fans of Double Toasted. The wonderful Miss JoVille Johnson. And yeah, check out her YouTube page. As you can see, it's just JoVJ on YouTube. Just type in her full name on YouTube. Go check out her channel. She's got great stuff. We're gonna give her a quick fast. Check out. Now she did one of my favorite songs. So why don't we give her 5 minutes, 5 minutes and 16 seconds to wow you as much as she does me in general.
This is the end. Hold your breath and count to 10. Feel the earth move and then hear my heart burst again. Oh, this is the end. Drowned and dreamt this moment. So overdue, I owe them. Swept away, I'm stolen. Let the sky fall when it crumbles. We will stand tall, facing alone. Together, let the sky fall when it crumbles. We will stand tall, facing alone. Together, as I fall. The sky falls. what I aim for in your heart and soul is what I can.
So that was JoJo Johnson. Obviously, you can see she ticked off two things that I love. One, real singers. Two, she was singing Skyfall. Like, as folks who are longtime listeners of the Wrath of Ruthless know, and of course the folks that are big time classic readers of Words Don't Do It Justice, you know my hobby is resurrection. Uh, and of course, when I came back post bar, that was of course the Skyfall was the thing I quoted, bringing that up. So uh, check out her page. Again, really easy to get to. You can go directly to youtube.com/user JoviJ, or just, like I said, just bam, type in her full name, Jovel Johnson, put it in the search bar. It'll bring you here. You'll see all her cool covers. You'll see all the good stuff she got. So she also got some film stuff as well. We might have her come on here soon. Hopefully, maybe one day. Who knows? But yeah, now we've checked out some toasties, and we'll get on to the actual show, and we'll talk some Oscars. See you in a minute.
You are watching the Wrath of Ruthless.
And since you're already on the fucking internet, like, no. I see that fucking Pornhub tab. I see that shit. No. Leave that open, though. Leave that open, but open up another one and go over to the Midnight Tit Attack YouTube channel where you can chill with us and talk about TV shows, movies, video game, and everything that's in pop culture news because you want to hang out with a bunch of random ass motherfucking folks and just talk about bullshit.
And don't forget to attack the chat every Saturday night at 7:30 CST. Do not ask us why it's not at midnight. It's none of your goddamn business anyways, man.
Hey folks, we're back on the Wrath of Ruthless, and this week we've got a Words Don't Do It Justice with a secret special guest who will not be secret once I let her speak, but we're going to be talking about the Oscars, and of course they're coming up. Well, I guess if you guys are watching this now, you're watching this on Saturday, so you know it's coming up tomorrow. This is kind of, I know you're thinking, like, this last minute. Like, no, we wanted to wait until all the odds were in, wanted to wait till everybody's pontificated and made their choices. As you recall, I do this with wrestling on my personal channel. We always tweet out during the actual pay-per-view because crazy stuff could happen. So now that all the buzz has been heard, now that we've heard all the people pontificate about it, we're going to talk about it with a special guest in this week's Words Don't Do It Justice segment. And I say special guest because this is not a new guest. This is a voice you've heard quite a lot. Welcome back to the show, Princess Devy. How you doing?
Hi. I've had better days, weeks, lives, but I'll be alright. I think I'm alive. Am I alive?
Yes, we're talking, so you're definitely alive.
No, I'm fine. What's up, guys? It's been a minute, man.
Yeah, it has. So let's hop right in here. First category we're going to talk about here is writing, but it's original screenplay. So we've got Hell or High Water, La La Land, The Lobster, 20th Century Women, and Manchester by the Sea.
See, I like original screenplay simply because it means new writing. Somebody did something new. Somebody actually sat down and made a new thought.
Mm-hmm.
And in Hollywood, we know that, oh my god, an original thought. Where the hell have you been all our life? Well, they're around. They just don't pay the fucking attention like you should. So, that's one of my favorite categories. It's probably, I'm the game for Manchester by the Sea.
I'm not. Ironically, compared to what I'm going to say in other categories, I am actually not rooting for Hell or High Water here, and there's a reason for it. The Lobster is the weirdest thing I have seen in a fairly long amount of time, and I kind of want The Lobster to win. I think Hell or High Water is a better movie than The Lobster. I think, honestly, Hell or High Water is probably the best movie in this entire section. I know people are already mad because I've just said it's better than La La Land. Yes, people, it's better than La La Land. But I think Hell or High Water, as far as screenplays go, I think because La La Land is probably going to win in some other places, and I think Hell or High Water is going to win in some other places, I think this is where you give it to The Lobster. because I think some of the other races might be closer. Manchester by the Sea is a good movie. It's a really dour film, and I think that's really the only thing working against it. I just don't think 20th Century Women's got much momentum going, and that's why I don't. That's why I'm not even giving them too much work. But let's go to the second writing category, and that's adapted screenplay, where I think the real fight is. Okay, so first up, as you can see, folks, you got Arrival, then you got Fences and Hidden Figures, Lion, and Moonlight. Now, this is madness. Like I have. The funny thing is, I think there's only a couple categories where I haven't seen every single movie that's being nominated this year, um, and this is the category where I kind of have a toss up. Now, any other year, matter of fact, any of the last 10 years, I would put Moonlight as a guaranteed winner in this category. It's my favorite movie of 2016. I think it is. I think it's the outside, but not favorite for Best Picture. But I think if it, I'll put it like this: if Moonlight wins here, it probably won't win Best Picture. But if Moonlight doesn't win here, I think it wins Best Picture.
Oh my god, if Moonlight won Best.
But we'll get to that. Save the excitement for Best Picture. Who do you think on adapted screenplay?
Man, I'm torn between Fences and Hidden Figures.
Okay.
Be- my thing with all with those three, because they make me scream, my people, and I jump up and down on the couch. It just I don't want to say anything because I don't want to jinx anybody. That's where I am right now. I'm like, but the girls with the Moonlight. Oh God, Moonlight. That's like right up my little alley of fandom nonsense right now.
hmm
This is a classic. What? Don't make me choose. I'm not gonna choose. I'm just gonna answer.
Yes, you can. That's what the show's about. It's about choosing.
What?
You have to pick. Pick one.
Hidden Figures.
All right. So Devin is locked in on Hidden Figures. Send her your hate mail now. Uh.
I
So
mean, you can get yours if you mind. Hey, no, the ladies, you saw the movie. The ladies were the ladies, and the ladies won.
everybody who liked Arrival and Lion, send your hate mail to Devin, care of
Address it to me,
care of the staff at words don't do it justice at gmail.com. No.
and I will burn it in my and can do a dance in my kitchen. I mean, you
So
know.
next up, visual effects. Uh, which okay, there are two movies in this that I think would normally run away with it, but because they're up against each other, I think it makes it possible for a big outsider. So visual effects, we've got Deepwater Horizon, Doctor Strange, The Jungle Book, Kubo and the Two Strings, and Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. Now, other years, if you had just even this year, if you had just Doctor Strange or just Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, I would say this category was one. But because they're both in it and they're both Disney products, along with the Jungle Book, but because they're both Disney products, I honestly think they will kind of butt against each other. With people going, no, I don't want to give it to Star Wars because there's a Disney film in here. Somebody's probably voting Disney. Oh, I don't want to give it to Doctor Strange because that's Disney, Marvel. I don't. And so I think Kubo and the Two Strings might steal it, or the Jungle Book. And I'm gonna choose the Jungle Book just because. Devin, did you end up seeing the Jungle Book?
No, but I still remember that experience you put me through with the HDR thingy, and it's still okay. You guys
Give her
please.
a VR experience, the Jungle Book VR experience, using my Samsung Gear VR.
Scared the shit out of me. I turned around. I'm like, okay. I see monkeys. All right, and then I turn around and I'm like, oh, this looks like King Louis. Oh my god, my head went all the way back. Now I'm 5'3", so I'm looking all the way up at you like that. You're at least 6'3" or 4 or 5. So if I'm Mowgli as a child, this guy is at least 9 feet tall. And then I turn around and Baloo is in my face and I screamed. It was amazing, and I loved it. But at the same time, when you
Doctor Strange. I mean, people could get snippety about who gets what all they want to because of the entities that these movies are coming from, but you got to give them for the special effects. Just the how do you put it? The promos alone, I went, whoa! I need a bigger TV.
Absolutely.
You have to see this. Doctor Strange is one of those. Yeah, I'll get on Netflix, but we really should see this in the theater first. You just, unless you have a projector-sized TV,
No, I'll disagree. Even if you have a projector, and I have a projector, even with a projector, go see Doctor Strange in a theater. Some places are still re-showing it now because it's got the Oscar buzz again. But it's amazing in 3D. I saw it in IMAX 3D twice. It was excellent.
See, there's just some things with visual effects you have to see in 3D. And for us, I just, that's the one thing I don't like about when people look at Oscars and start choosing stuff. Oh, this is a Disney movie. Honey, give credit where credit is due.
Exactly.
I mean, just my own experience. I would have loved if I had a Doctor Strange VR experience. I'd probably be going gaga about it too. But I just had one with the Jungle Book, so I'm a little, yeah, that's got that. I'm with the Jungle Book, but I don't care that it's Disney and it's Marvel. Give credit where it's due. Stop being a little brat because you don't like Disney or Marvel or Pixar or whoever the heck it is that is up for the award. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like I said, I think Kubo's a more interesting visual effects movie because it's stop motion animation. But the Jungle Book is just like, what you don't realize is that basically everything but the kid himself in the movie is CGI, and you're going, no way. And so it's just amazing. In the same way that like years ago Avatar was. Like, how are they doing this? This is amazingly good. So let's move on to our next category, music. So we've got original song and original score. Now, La La Land has two original songs here: "Audition," "The Fool's Will Dream," and "City of Stars," their big opening number. It's also "Can't Stop the Feeling" from the movie Trolls, "How Far I'll Go" from Moana, and "The Empty Chair" from Jim, the James Foley. I don't remember that full movie. Yeah, the James Foley story. Jim, the James Foley story. So, uh, listen, this I really like Moana. I think that the "How Far I'll Go" song is actually really nice. It's Devin. Did you see Moana?
No.
So
Stop judging me.
I'm not judging you. I'm just gonna set the stage for you here. This is like prime '90s Disney, but with the mindset of current day, with The Rock doing a voice, and he sings in the movie.
Yeah, I saw the promos. My thing with Moana is, since you said 90s, look at who's writing and who's doing the music for it.
Yeah, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
And how old is he?
He's our age.
Exactly. It's just they gave him access.
It's perfection. And as good as it is, it's still gonna lose because City of Stars from La La Land is. If Hamilton is a juggernaut that has destroyed all things stage play for the next 5 years and for the last 3, then La La Land, when it comes to musicals, is doing that right now. And I think City of Stars, because it's the more recognizable of their two songs, I think it's going to be the one that like absolutely destroys in this category.
Yeah, well, La La Land seems to be
It's
taking. Yeah, it's my only problem with it being from Kansas City, knowing jazz's roots, especially here in Kansas City, and some of the elements of the movie being a little bit whitewashed, not even a little bit whitewashed, just outright whitewashed to me. I'm like, great, we got another jazz film, and all these white people are happy about it. Do y'all know where this stuff came from?
Of course they don't. They don't care.
And that bugs me. And I know they don't care, and I know I shouldn't be surprised. But at the same time, I'm just like, here we go again. Whatever. And I shouldn't, but I am. Because I'm a brat.
Hey, it's not that. All right, now we're gonna say this again because I know that there are some people from the double toasted community that will be like, "See, he hates La La Land." Like, no, I don't hate La La Land. I just don't think La La Land is as good as you people seem to think it is. Uh, but that's because I think there's two better movies this year, and one of them is Moonlight. Um, but that brings us, of course, to best original score. Now, here's the one I'll be paying attention to, because I saw Passengers and I thought Passengers was terrible, but the movie is scored well. Um, I didn't pay a lot of attention to the music in Lion. Obviously, La La Land's a musical, and I don't really feel like it's fair to have it in this category. Whatever. Um,
Yeah. It's a little,
Jackie.
what?
Remember I said earlier that I've seen every movie here. Jackie is the only one I didn't see in a theater. Um, and I got to hang out with a friend of mine who does all this critic stuff, and got to see it. Got to see a screener copy. But the rest of them I saw in theaters, and I I feel like I feel like it's another win for La La Land, even though I think I can't really say that. I don't think Moonlight's music is so good that it deserves best original score for this year, and I'm kind of okay with La La Land winning here. Like I said, I'm not happy with it, but I kind of gotta be okay with it.
Yeah, it's one of those. Well, yeah, kind of. Come on, guys, come on, let them have it this one time.
Fine. All right. So makeup and hairstyling. We've got our three competitors. That's Suicide Squad, Star Trek Beyond, and A Man Called Ove. Now, A Man Called Ove, actually, I take that back. This is a movie I haven't seen. I did see stuff from it, trailers, pictures, all that kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, I, it's makeup and hairstyling, not really my category. Devin, take it away.
What was the other one?
Suicide Squad and Star Trek Beyond.
Oh my gosh, Suicide Squad. The first thing that comes to mind is Harley and our lovely Dr. Harley Quinn. I've seen so many Suicide Squad Harley Quinns lately that the makeup and the hairstyle, just for the entire movie, even with the Joker, it's comic bookish and it's good, but the way it parlays into real life when you see it at all the Comic Cons and your friends are dressing up and stuff for Halloween, you're just kind of over it. Personally, I kind of want to give it to Star Trek. Star Trek and even Star Wars, these films, when it comes to makeup and hairstyling, I'm not the biggest sci-fi fan, but this stuff, like, wow, you have created somebody who walks into a room that if they came off the planet Mars, I'd be like, yo, I've seen that before, and it's really cool. And I like it. That's how I feel. I like to give it to Star Trek. I don't think Suicide Squad has a chance, especially since Star Trek is up there, but we might get surprised in somebody else who we haven't. Like you said, the other movie I haven't seen, but maybe they might get it. I still think Star Trek's going to get it, just because of Star Trek, and turning people into Vulcans is not the easiest thing in the world to do.
There you go. So now we're on to film editing. So we've got again, the 5 of the bigs, big heavy category. Film editing, of course, really more about how they took the cinematography and crafted the look and feel of the film. We've got Arrival, Hacksaw Ridge, Hell or High Water, Moonlight, and of course, La La Land. Okay. So remember before when I said, like, I'm hoping Moonlight doesn't win for Best Adapted Screenplay because that means it'll win for Big Picture?
Mm-hmm.
I'm also thinking that even though I thought maybe this would go to Hacksaw Ridge, I think this is where Hell or High Water wins. Only because I don't think that the Academy wants to give any direct Oscars to Hacksaw Ridge, but they can't deny that Hacksaw Ridge is actually a really good film, and it's really put together well. It really blends kind of seamlessly its war focus alongside all of the kind of softer moments, the more inspirational moments of the film. Of course, Hacksaw Ridge, for those who haven't seen it, is about the first conscientious objector to win the Medal of Honor for his service in the military. He believed that as a Christian, he should not kill or carry a gun, and instead would go on the battlefield and with no gun and just supplies would go out and save soldiers. I believe he said saving 79 men over the course of his time in World War II. So, really good film. Mel Gibson takes helm of this one and really kind of shows you that he's still kind of he might be crazy and out of his mind and very anti-Semitic, but he is also very, very adept at handling certain subjects, and this is one of those subjects. So I think Hell or High Water wins here. I want Hell or High Water to win here, I'll put it that way. But I think it might be Hacksaw Ridge that ends up winning in this spot, just so that they don't have to give Mel like one of the other awards. Arrival, of course,
and it's pretty to look. Is it truly pretty to look at? That's the thing about film editing. I want it to be pretty.
It's Hacksaw Ridge. I mean, it's a war movie. It's not pretty to look at. That's why it works so well.
I see.
Now, here comes my favorite for this year. Whew, let's go. So, documentary. We're skipping the short subject, and we're going to feature-length documentary. Fire at Sea, Life Animated, OJ Made in America, 13th, and I Am Not Your Negro. These 5 are the definition of documentaries that you can get hyped from watching. So, I think you guys already kind of know I'm going to focus on 3 of these. I want Ava DuVernay to win, but...
Uh-oh.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't want the OJ one winning for obvious reasons. I think OJ gets scapegoated for a lot of things and also gets propped up for a lot of things, and I don't want any more recognition on OJ. For me, it's down to I'm Not Your Negro and 13th. Now, 13th is absolutely amazing. Go watch it on Netflix right now. But I Am Not Your Negro, the story of what's going on with that, here, we're just gonna, let me give you this trailer real quick if I can. I want you guys to see this stuff, okay?
If any white man in the world says, give me liberty or give me death, the entire white world applauds. When a black man says exactly the same thing, he is judged a criminal and treated like one, and everything possible is done to make an example of this bad nigger so there won't be any more like him.
The story of the Negro in America is the story of America. It is not a pretty story.
Most of the white Americans I've ever encountered, sure, they have nothing whatever against Negroes. That's really not the question. Really a kind of apathy and ignorance. You don't know what's happening on the other side of the wall because you don't want to know.
In America, I was free only in battle, never free to rest.
We need to take action, any kind of action, by any means necessary.
They needed us to pick the cotton, and now they don't need us anymore. Now they don't need us, they're going to kill us all off. There are days when you wonder what your role is in this country and what your future is in it. I can't be a pessimist because I'm alive. The question you've got to ask yourself, the white population of this country's got to ask itself, is why it was necessary to have a nigger in the first place. Because I'm not a nigger. I'm a man. But if you think I'm a nigger, it means you need it. And you got to find out why. And the future of the country depends on that.
All right, sorry, I had to stop us for a moment and show them that because if you haven't seen I'm Not Your Negro, like it's James Baldwin's unfinished work, plus all of the work being done by Raoul Peck, and a fairly large crew, kind of trying to go through with what his original vision was. It is amazing. Please go see it. And that's the like I want Ava DuVernay to win because I want her to get an Oscar. But if she weren't going to win, it's got to be for I'm Not Your Negro.
Yes, Lord in the name.
It is absolutely amazing. Like the fact that a documentary can't be up for Best Picture is the only reason why I'm not like, yo, why is this not Best Picture? Like,
Yeah. I'm not surprised that they have made these two ended up well. Even with the thing about the documentary category is always it's always surprised me in the sense that where did this stuff come and how did you guys know about it and why did I blah, blah, blah. But Netflix, the thing with documentaries is because they can be put anywhere and people just kind of
they gravitate to them.
Yeah,
and
they
Netflix
gravitate.
has really changed the game like that. Like,
And I'm like, whoa, Netflix, if Netflix don't get an Oscar for an original movie that we didn't have to go to theaters to see, can we do that?
It used to be you had to go to theaters to see a documentary.
Anything.
And I think, honestly, that would be a really cool thing to kind of get back to. I would love to see I'm Not Your Negro, like, show up at Cinetopia. I would take you to go see it if that happened, if I'm still here by then. But that's my thing. Like, these are two juggernauts in a year, like where they clearly win for most of the last 10 to maybe even 20 years. But right now, I need Ava DuVernay to win this. But if she loses to I'm Not Your Negro, hey, I'm cool.
I'm not
cool
mad.
That's the only one I'm cool with. Because 13, not only will that put Netflix on the map, but that gives her an Oscar that she should have won for Selma.
Well,
so I'm so hyped for that. All right, let's move up to directing. Directing another version of the Big Five. You got Arrival, Hacksaw Ridge, La La Land, Manchester by the Sea, and Moonlight. Now I went and checked some odds on this one. So the odds right now have Damien Chazelle at like crazy odds, 1 to 700. So basically, you would have to spend $700 to get back $1.
To get back $1?
To get back $1 if you bet on this for directing. So
wow.
I think now here's the thing. I think this is another one of those situations where the movie that gets it here is definitely out for Best Picture. Because La La Land and Moonlight are not up against each other in writing for screenplay and adapted screenplay. So here's their first true face-off when it comes to the big awards. And I think this might be a, quote, consolation to one of the directors. So Damien Chazelle, who's currently heavily favored in Vegas, overseas, really just about everywhere. If he loses here to Barry Jenkins, it's because they're giving it to Barry Jenkins and Mahershala Ali probably later on for supporting actor because they're not going to give it Best Picture.
Jesus. It is the way this all works. So somebody can get everybody gets a little bitty thing.
Well,
so we could give it to this guy in the end. It just.
Well, to a degree, I mean, yeah, but I mean, Mel Gibson's not winning, okay? Like, Mel Gibson has said horribly racist things and extremely anti-Semitic things. So Mel Gibson's not winning for Hacksaw Ridge. So he was out. So it was always a four group category, which means Denis Villeneuve and Kenneth Lonergan. There we go. We're really the only ones that could possibly be upset here because it clearly was coming down to Damien Chazelle and Barry Jenkins. I got it. Like I said, I kind of want Chazelle to win because it means a better possibility for Moonlight. But as a consolation prize, I'm down with Moonlight getting Barry Jenkins an award here because it still recognizes how amazing that film is, and it is truly amazing. So we're gonna skip over the costume design. and come up here to cinematography, really getting into that look, and of course, obviously that big juggernaut of the animated features above it. Um, Arrival, Bradford Young, um, La La Land, Lion, Moonlight, and Silence. Silence is Scorsese's film that details kind of the Jesuits going into Japan. I won't really give away the film, but really good picture. Shot really beautifully. Shot fairly cheaply for what kind of film it is. Shot for I think just over 40 million with another 20 or so in marketing. Like it's a cheap.
Wow, really?
It's a cheaper Scorsese picture for everything that goes on in Silence. They actually apparently shot it very cheaply. Um, Obviously, Moonlight looks gorgeous. I don't want to give stuff away. Go see Moonlight, people. Just go see.
Just go see movies.
Just go see the movie. Same with La La Land, though. La La Land is beautiful. There's a lot of Bells of Cherbourg, and it takes on a very interesting mix of clear, natural, in-person scenes, and a lot of interesting soundstage moments. Some numbers. It gives you what you want in a musical, and if you're thinking, oh, musical, bright colors, really zippy, feel to it, yeah, that's what you get. Somber moments, look somber, yeah, that's what you get. But let's get up here to the animated feature film, Kubo and the Two Strings, Moana, My Life as a Zucchini, The Red Turtle, and Zootopia. Who you got?
Why did you drag me into this? I loved Zootopia. Oh God, did I love Zootopia? Oh God, did I love Zootopia? I want Moana to get it because brown girls rule. I also want Zootopia to get it because the story, the movie is beautiful. Zootopia is a gorgeous film.
And they
but
tackle
the
racism
story,
in a very interesting way. So I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
The story, I was like, Joseph's like, let's see it. We saw it on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Netflix. And I was like, this is interesting. And I was just like, he's 7. Does he not get like the 10,000 elements of race and class, gender going on in here? Yes, ginger. There were some redheads in that movie. But it's a family film. It's something for everyone. I'm like, yeah, for everybody who's a bigot, I need you to go see this with your kids, you racist jackass. That's playing in the back of my mind like, oh my fucking God. Do y'all, hey, guys, this is the blackest movie I've ever seen in my life for kids. Does anybody else know what's going on? I'm just kind of looking around like, what is happening? But I want Disney to be encouraged to make more brown girl films because there are so many stories on the mother continent. There's so many stories in Asia. There's so many stories in Native America, for the Native Australians. We've seen Snow White as 11 bajillion times. Let it go.
Make something new.
Come talk to me about. There's one
excited about Moana. Like Moana should win. One, because The Rock needs an Oscar, but also because
he's awesome.
Because Moana is, if Zootopia is the perfect kids feature about race, gender, and class, Moana is the perfect kids feature about checking out other cultures. Because whatever, like I know there are some Native Polynesian folks that feel like they did a lot of caricature, and they had some issues with how Maui was drawn and things of that nature. I understand all that, but as a first foray into a culture that is literally never appeared in an animated feature before, this was amazingly well done. So I'm hyped for Moana. I hope Moana gets it. And now we get to the hard stuff. This category, some people are going to say this is already over. Viola Davis has won Best Supporting Actress. I'm going to start with that premise, okay? But Here's the thing. This was a clear case of they are purposely doing this to avoid competition, because when we get to Best Actress, you'll see who all is up in there, and you can notice that they put Viola Davis in this category to keep her from having to compete against people who were considered heavy favorites, and it was really a smart thing. So you got Viola Davis for Fences, Naomi Harris for Moonlight, Nicole Kidman for Lion, Michelle Williams for Manchester by the Sea, and Octavia Spencer for Hidden Figures. Now, Naomi Harris does a great job in Moonlight. She appears twice in the film. Because I'm trying to remember in the middle. Actually, has that little scene in the middle. But she's a supporting character. She is not important. Like, she's important in the film, but I mean, she's not important enough to have the bulk of the lines. Nicole Kidman, not important enough to have the bulk of the lines. Michelle Williams, small scenes, poignant scenes, not a bulk of the film. Octavia Spencer and Viola Davis are the only. Well, Octavia Spencer is the only one close to the amount of lines that Viola Davis gets. Like, she's as big a character as that. But in Hidden Figures, it is very clear that Taraji P. Henson is the lead in that film.
When Viola won, it was for The Help, right?
I thought Octavia Spencer won for The Help.
Octavia, but were they up against each other?
I don't believe so.
Because I want to say, like, in recent years, they were like side by side, and I'm like, I hate you guys. I'm going to pinch you on the face. This isn't fair.
Well, in this case, I think you have to go to Viola Davis, because not only has she, I would even say upped her game from what I have seen of her stage play version of Fences performance, but in a year with very strong performances in this category, she is the one that is most evocative. And yeah, it's kind of cheating, but so what? But so what?
Yeah, we've been cheated for so long. Fuck you guys.
Okay,
Give me.
Just cheat.
Give
Let's
me.
go. I'm
Give
down.
me.
So let's move on to actor and supporting role. Now, here's another one of those categories where, here's the funny thing. This is the category where I think the two people who are very clearly more lead than non-lead are going to lose out to a juggernaut performance. Now, we've got Mahershala Ali for Moonlight. We've got Jeff Bridges in Hell or High Water. Jeff Bridges is, honestly, I think every other scene in the movie has him in it. So I wouldn't really call him supporting either. Lucas Hedges from Manchester by the Sea, very clearly supporting actor. Michael Shannon for Nocturnal Animals. Good movie, go see it. Also a very clear supporting character. Dev Patel, I would also argue, is more of a lead than he is supporting. But again, they put him and Jeff Bridges here in supporting roles. And the funny thing is, they're going to lose to Mahershala Ali. Like, Cottonmouth won this shit. All right? Mahershala Ali from Moonlight is one of those performances that you, like, I'm trying to think of a good reference point where you steal a movie with how amazing the performance is.
Was Cuba Gooding Jr. a supporting actor?
Yeah, his was for supporting. But
would that be the same? Well, it wouldn't be exactly the same.
Quality-wise, because Cuba's all right. It was okay. That was really more of a political pick. But I would say this is a little bit like. This is a little bit like last year with oh god, I just blanked on his name. Idris Elba in Beasts of No Nation. Like, Idris Elba is not the main character of the film, but he's in it enough to get a supporting actor nod, and he was worth it because he had an amazing performance. Mahershala Ali is in Moonlight, and I don't want to ruin what he does in this movie, but I just want you to know, like, you're gonna watch Moonlight and be like, I really think he needs to be in more stuff. I'm really down with this dude.
Yeah, I saw that in the promos. I need to get back into Luke Cage because I'm a terrible person.
Yeah.
But him and Luke Cage, I was like,
yeah, he's so much better. He's so much better in Moonlight. Like, Cottonmouth is a great villain. This performance, Moonlight is the reason why, like, I will forever, when I write screenplays, like, and I'm thinking of, male lead characters, for the next few years, I'm always going to think of him just because of the way he makes his performance. Like he gives you everything. He's relatable. He's still stern. He gets a little stoic and a little misty eyed. You get emotion that doesn't feel contrived. And I was down from the beginning end.
You said
So-
an emotion that doesn't feel contrived from a black man. I'm in love.
Yeah, it's amazing. So
And he's married.
and we gotta move on to actors in the leading role. And here we've got a I would say a difficult situation here. This is also now remember this is we're looking at leading role. Remember we've got Viola Davis down here in supporting. Here's why she's down supporting. Isabella Huppert in Elle, Ruth Negga in Loving, Natalie Portman in Jackie, Meryl Streep for Florence Foster Jenkins, and Emma Stone for La La Land. Knowing the Academy and how they act normally, this is exactly the reason why you put Viola Davis in supporting, so she at least has a chance. Because, all right, you've got two historical picks. So, Ruth Negga in Loving, British actress doing an American Southerner. You know, the Academy gets hot for that. Jackie O, being played by Natalie Portman, another, you know, Hollywood darling. In a biopic situation, yeah, definitely gonna. These are already going to be difficult to deal with, but you have a Meryl Streep film, and before the Golden Globes, maybe she was far more outside, but post Golden Globes, you have to say that it's very likely that she's possibly going to steal this category from the person I think that should win it, and that's Isabella Huppert. Even though I don't like the movie Elle and its approach, Luke, I almost called him Luke Besson, sorry. Paul Verhoeven's approach to the lead character Elle, played by Isabella Huppert, being raped and her actions afterwards. I don't know whether they were trying to be funny with certain scenes and it was just lost on me, or whether they were trying to just take this empowered position about things. Elle confuses me more than it does, more than a movie like that should, and I don't mean that in a good sense. It confuses me to a point where I checked out. I stopped liking what I was seeing, and you know, had that problem, and I think she might still get it despite that, except for Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep is always going to be up for it, and after that Trump speech, it might be even more up for it. Emma Stone, I think, probably hardest job out of the five of them, as far as the picture she's in, because not only does she have to act, but she has to sing, and she has to be convincing in both roles and dance. Yeah. And so I think, you know, different year, guaranteed win. This year, I don't think she's going to win. This is probably another one of those, the La La Land folks are like, you hate La La Land. No, I think she did a great job. I just don't think, Meryl Streep post the Trump speech can be overcome. That's really my that's really all it is. I think if it weren't for that, I would be like, yeah, I think right now Emma Stone's probably going to win this. But Huppert got honored at the Golden Globes for this. In this category, Emma Stone probably is the only person that could have beat her this year. And like I said, I think she has a better performance, but I just don't think Emma Stone's going to win. So let's get up to actor in the leading role. Casey Affleck from Manchester by the Sea. Fuck him and his sexual assault.
Oh God.
So fuck him.
Man,
Manchester
by the Sea, and
Don't
then
care.
he did that, and I'm like, man, fuck you guys. Why'd you ruin such a great time in the movie with your dumbass?
Andrew Garfield in Hacksaw Ridge, which is hilarious, but he's not gonna win. All right, look, all right. So for folks who don't know, Andrew Garfield is not an American, and he has to do a Southern accent. Like
Oh
Megan had to do.
God.
And it is the funny. If he weren't saying the most like strident, just truly deep belief, you know, Christian phrases, and I do mean like he catchphrases Christianity fairly heavily, but it's done in this fashion that just seems earnest. If he weren't doing that, I would be laughing at how hilarious his Southern accent is. Dear God, just one more. Just one more. He says that all the time. And it's like, oh, if you just heard him say it like I just did just now, and you didn't get to see him saying it, you'd be like, that is so cartoonish, I can't believe you. But it works out nicely. Ryan Gosling, La La Land, 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 La La Land.
Blah 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 blah.
Denzel Washington in Fences, or Hidden Fences, for racists out there. And Viggo Mortensen for Captain Fantastic. Now, Captain Fantastic. I can't ruin that film, but just go watch Captain Fantastic. You're gonna have a good time. I promise. Um, Viggo Mortensen should win. I'm sorry, he should. That movie is ridiculous, but Denzel Washington needs to win, and I think with the Casey Affleck situation being what it is, Denzel Washington's probably gonna
He'll
win.
get it.
He's not winning for best director. He's not winning for best screenplay. I think this is where you give Denzel Washington. I think him getting it here and Viola Davis getting it for supporting actress is all you need to recognize Fences, because Fences is really the two of them. Like, there are other people in the movie, yes, there are tons of great actors and actresses in the movie. The movie is really well done, but it's a stage play, and this is recognizing how amazing they are, because most of the film is the two of them. It's great. Go see it. Ryan Gosling, yeah, like, dude, yeah, it's Ryan Gosling, whatever. It's La La Land. Whatever I say about La La Land, people are gonna be like, so screw it. Just keep moving. Now comes the part where we get to the big thing. The juggernauts have all aligned. For Best Picture this year, we have Arrival, Lion, Hacksaw Ridge, Hell or High Water, Manchester by the Sea, Hidden Figures, Fences, La La Land, and Moonlight. Before I start pontificating, Devin, what's your pick?
Hidden Figures. This one's for my girls. I want to scream and jump up and down and be like, yo, I'm a black lady and black ladies rule.
Now,
But
that's what you want to win. Who do you think is going to win?
ooh, who do I think is gonna win? Probably La La Land. But your sneak surprise would be either Moonlight or Fences.
So you think La La Land's going to win, but you would want Hidden Figures. I can feel that. It would be an amazing thing to see if that were to occur. I'm going to be honest here. The movie I want to win is the movie I think is going to win. Moonlight, baby. Here's the thing. There's a channel called Game Theory, and they have a side channel called Film Theory, and they went through this whole determination of how the Oscars are really picked, how Best Picture is really selected, and the trends that you can follow to find the right bets. And they showed something last year with Spotlight that was very interesting. Spotlight was one of the first winners to truly have a full Google Analytics search to help determine whether or not it won or not. And that if people would have seen the Google Analytics, they would have seen it come from behind and win. Over the much larger pictures that everybody thought was going to win. Moonlight is following a similar trajectory. La La Land is a juggernaut, but I think La La Land is going to clean up in so many other places. Again, I think it's going to win for Best Director. I think it's also going to win for Best Original Screenplay. And because it's cleaning up in so many places, I think this is where La La Land loses, because they're feeling like they got to spread it around. Because you got to recognize Damien Chazelle because he's done amazing work. But I think the people that are... Here's the thing I noticed. Everybody who sees La La Land goes, oh my god, this movie's amazing. Okay? Now, there are people in the Double Toasted community. There are people, of course, in the Justice League. There are friends and family members that have seen La La Land, and they said, oh man, La La Land was amazing. I loved La La Land. And I tell them go see Moonlight. And before they see Moonlight, I ask them if they think La La Land should be Best Picture at the Oscars. They always say yeah. And then I ask them again after they see Moonlight. And this is black people, white people, a few Latino folks, some Asian folks. And I'm telling you, American born, international, doesn't matter. They see Moonlight and are moved to tears. I only know one person that is truly like somebody I talk to on a fairly regular basis that didn't like Moonlight.
What? Sorry. I'm not sorry. I want to know who this person is, and we need to talk to them and be like, what is wrong?
I understood why.
Okay.
But
We all have our reasons.
everybody has their thing. But other than that one outlier, nobody can call Moonlight a bad movie. There are people who can call La La Land a bad musical. Most of the people are haters. Most people are haters because La La Land is a really good movie. Like just from a film perspective, not even talking about like how good the story is or how good the acting is. Because look, Ryan Gosling still can't sing, and neither can Emma Stone. But they they faked their way to the top, as Eddie Murphy said in Dreamgirls, very well. Moonlight is it's better. It's just better, and you might not hear like Moonlight is. All right, here I'm gonna do something. Devin doesn't know I'm doing this. I'm about to ask her this right now. If I say the name Eve's Bayou, what do you remember?
Journey Somalia was in that. Denzel was he in that? I just remember Journey Somalia, and I don't remember much of the story. I just know it was deep. It dug deep into a part of the Black family that we don't talk about, but should do more for. It's one of those movies that you put our stuff out on the screen and everybody saw it. I'm like, good. Now maybe we can fix this. Now,
folks, Eve's Bayou is over 20 years old. I have not talked about this movie with Devin beforehand, but she could already tell you about the film and one of the stars of the film. Moonlight is a better made version of that, and its staying power is immeasurable. This is one of those films that it doesn't matter what your background is. You're able to see this and understand the story of what these people are going through in a way that you can't with other stuff. La La Land, it's not quite The Artist, because I think that would be a disservice to La La Land. It is very good. The Artist is just Hollywood just fawning over itself and being stupid. La La Land is one of those movies that I think 3 or 4 years from now, you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's when that guy did Whiplash. I think Whiplash is the better film of the two, and it's going to be the one that the director's more remembered for. Unless it wins here, in which case it might stick around a bit like that. But La La Land, good, not great. Moonlight, great. Transformatively great. I would say if you have any misgivings from what you've heard about Moonlight, if you have any wonder about what you're really going to be experiencing with Moonlight, this is a movie that will challenge what you believe in a good way and show you something that you didn't know was possible. So I'm with Moonlight. That said, I think after Moonlight, La La Land, and after La La Land, Hell or High Water. It's a Western. It's modern, but it is classic Western stuff done amazingly well, and I love it. I fawn over it. I'm down with it. But that's gonna be it for us. We're gonna get out of here, and let you guys see the Oscars tomorrow. 2 days from now for us. Let you guys see the Oscars, and during next week's show, I will briefly address the ones I got right and the ones I got wrong. So for Devin, I am the Ruthless Wonder, not A Ruthless Wonder. You've been listening to Words Don't Do It Justice on The Wrath of Ruthless. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
You just watched The Wrath of Ruthless.
And hey, you're hyped. So hyped that words just can't do it justice. Ooh. But you know what? I got something for that. Bring that ass and back that ass up for the Midnight Chat Attack.
Oh, and do not forget, when you dumble that ass on our face, don't forget to attack the chat every Saturday night, 7:30 CST. And don't ask us why it's not at midnight. We don't fucking know either.